Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, afternoon, evening everyone. My name is Sam Fatoni with the code FT. In this session, I will explain the second and third module, which cover the basics of electricity, mesh analysis, and node analysis. In this video, we'll study the fundamentals of electricity, basic electrical laws, electrical elements, and what mesh and node analysis are. Electricity is a form of energy that comes from the movement of charged particles through a circuit or conductor. Voltage is the change in work required to move a charge of 1 coulomb, expressed by the formula V equals to dW per dk. Current is the amount of charge that flows per unit time, expressed by the formula I equals to dk per dt. Resistance is the opposition a material has to the flow of electric current, expressed by the formula R equals to rho times L per A. In the topic of electrical basics, we will also learn about the measuring instruments such as the voltmeter, ammeter, and ohmmeter. Voltmeter, as its name suggests, is used to measure a voltage and must be connected in parallel. It has a very high internal resistance, so if it is connected in series, it can limit the current. An ammeter is used to measure current and must be connected in series. It has very low internal resistance, so if connected in parallel, the current would prefer to flow through the ammeter, which would cause a very large current if not connected properly in series with a load. An ohmmeter is used to measure resistance in a circuit and can also test whether switches, fuse, or cables are broken. There's also a tool that can measure all three variables at once. It's called multimeter. Depending on the type, some multimeters can even measure up to 5 variables. Now let's move on to the basic law of electricity. The first is Ohm's law, states that the current flowing through a conductor is proportional to the potential difference applied across it, expressed by V equals I times R. Next one is Kirchhoff's current law, that states the total current entering a junction equals the total current leaving that junction. The last one is Kirchhoff's voltage law, states that the algebraic sum of all EMFs and voltage drops around a closed loop is equal to 0. Next, let's discuss electrical elements. Electrical elements can be classified based on their source and properties. Based on the source, it can be divided into two, which is independent source and dependent source. Dependent source are elements that provide constant voltage or current regardless of other variables in the circuit. They are usually symbolized by a circle. The next one is dependent source. They are controlled by other variables in the circuit and can be divided into 4 types. That is VC/VS, voltage controlled, voltage source, VCCS, voltage controlled, current source, CCCS, current controlled current source, and CCVS, current controlled voltage source. They are usually symbolized by a diamond or square shape like this. Based on the properties, electrical elements can also be divided into two, that is passive elements and active elements. Passive elements can only absorb power, cannot control current or voltage, and have no gain function. Example includes resistors, inductors, and capacitors. And active elements can supply power and control current or voltage with gain, such as motors, generators, op-amps, diodes, and batteries. Now let's move to mesh analysis. Mesh analysis is based on Kirchhoff voltage law and is used to calculate unknown current in a closed circuit. A mesh is the smallest loop in a circuit that contains no other loops inside it. For examples, in the figure shown, loop 3 is not a mesh because loops 1 and 2 are contained inside it. However, loop 1 and 2 are meshed because no other loop exists within them. The important points you need to remember about mesh analysis: it is used KVL or Kirchhoff voltage law as the principle. It is mainly used to find current in a circuit. Active elements are usually voltage source. Passive elements are usually impedance, and it helps in forming and solving equations. Next is node analysis. And node analysis is based on Kirchhoff current law and is used to calculate unknown voltage in a circuit. A node is a point that connects two or more elements in a circuit. For example, in the circuits there are 4 nodes: node 1, 2, and 3, and also a ground node. The important point you need to remember about node analysis: it uses KCL or Kirchhoff current law as the principle. It is mainly used to find voltages in a circuit. Active elements are usually current source. Passive elements are usually admittance, and it helps in forming and solving equations. Alright, that's all from me. To strengthen your understanding of mesh and node analysis, I highly recommend practicing problems or at least watching solution discussions about these topics. Thank you.